Hello everyone and welcome back to 27 Fox Place. The weather is finally warming up enough to spend some time outdoors, but the patio needs some work and this was the perfect day to get outside and clean up the patio and give it a little refresh, and everything is covered in dirt and grime, so I had to break out the power washer. One of the cheapest and easiest ways to refresh an outdoor space is to clean up the hardscape and the furniture, and these things can deteriorate quickly without a regular cleaning and maintenance. We picked up this little bistro set at Walmart when we first moved into the house, and it's held up so well that there's really no reason to replace it. And there's a few scratches here and there, but overall it's in pretty good shape, and it's the perfect size to enjoy a cup of coffee and scroll through social media on the weekends. This machine is only about 1600 psi, which is perfect for cleaning around the outside of the house, but the high pressure can cut into softer materials, so I don't recommend using a power washer to clean wood. But this cutting board has seen better days, and we just use the cutting board as a tray so we have somewhere to set plates and utensils when we cook outside, so I just want to get it cleaned up until we can find a replacement. The storage space under the grill isn't completely enclosed, so dirt and debris get blown into this space, and we only keep a few grilling supplies out here, but I need to take everything out so I can clean inside. I have no idea how everything gets to be so greasy and grimy. We always cook with the lid closed, but grease still seems to get everywhere, and I love using the power washer because it cleans off all that stuck-on dirt without having to use any chemicals or extra scrubbing, and it uses less water than a regular garden hose. I like to use the wider spray setting because it covers more area and it's not quite as powerful as a more concentrated stream, so I have to get really close to the surface to clean off the stubborn grime, but if the nozzle is farther away, I can rinse away the loose dirt without causing damage to things like the decals on the knobs. We have hard water, which can leave spots on the grill that can be really hard to remove, so once all the grime is washed away, I like to use a chamois to dry off the stainless steel, and I absolutely love this grill. There are no hot and cold spots, so everything cooks evenly, and it has a 10-year warranty on the igniter, and everyone I've ever talked to about this grill raves about it too. It is a more affordable option, but it was also a bit of an investment, so we need to maintain it so that it lasts, which means keeping it clean so that it looks nice on the outside, and cleaning the inside so that it functions properly. And I really need to clean out the inside of the grill, but that's a bigger project than I wanted to do today, but it is something that we need to get done sooner than later. To conserve water, we use the leaf blower to clean the dirt and leaves off the patio most of the time, and it keeps the patio looking nice, and it helps to keep the dirt from getting tracked into the house. But some of the dirt sticks and builds up over time, so a few times a year we break out the hose and rinse everything off, but eventually it gets to the point where the garden hose just isn't enough. I need to move all the furniture so that I can clean underneath the rug, and I really need to clean all of the furniture, but I plan to spend the rest of the afternoon sitting on the patio once this is all cleaned up. And if I clean the cushions today, it will take a day or two before the cushions fully dry. And I also ordered a new set of replacement cushions for this patio set, and they didn't arrive for this video, so there will be a part 2, so be sure to watch for that one. And I really don't need the power washer to clean the tables, but it will be faster and easier just to rinse everything off while I have it out. And before I can clean the rug, I need to clean the concrete underneath it because dirt filters down through the fibers in the rug and it blows up underneath it, and even the finest particles of dirt can be abrasive as sandpaper. So I try to wash the rug in the spring and then I try to wash it again in the fall, but I think it's been a year since the last time I cleaned underneath the rug. And without the power washer, I would have to get a scrub brush to loosen up all the dirt that's stuck to the concrete.
Close your eyes, get some rest. I'm by your side, lay your head on my chest. I know you've had a really bad day, but I'm right here, it's gonna be okay. The world could fall down, it's gonna be okay. The sun could go out, we're gonna be okay. If all the blue skies fade to gray, we're gonna be okay.
The back of the rug is covered with muck, so I'm going to rinse off the back as I roll it out. And I've used the fan setting on the power washer to clean the rug and the furniture cushions in the past, but I try not to get too close. If I keep the nozzle at least 6 inches away, it can clean off the dirt without cutting into the fibers.
I know it hurts, it wasn't fair. It's over now, so don't despair. The world could fall down, it's gonna be okay. The sun could go out, we're gonna be okay. If all the blue skies fade to gray, we're gonna be okay.
Everything on the patio has been covered in pollen for weeks, but it seems to have tapered off a bit. So I wanted to rinse off the screen doors, and since there's no way to avoid getting water all over the doors when I use the power washer, I need to wash the glass doors anyway, and I just cleaned the doors a few weeks ago, so I only need to rinse off the doors and then I can use a squeegee to dry them off.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Silent Side by side, our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through. No limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life.
The power washer is the easiest way to remove all the algae growth on the fountain, and the power washer may be easy to use, but it's not always the easiest to get out and put away, so when I have it out, I try to clean everything that I can with it.
You tell me you're scared. You tell me you're weak. What you think, and I know it's hard. Yeah, I know it's rough, but we'll make it through, and I'll back you up. Wherever you're going, I'm going too. I'll follow you through the black and the blue. Whatever the mountain, we'll climb to the next. Honey, I'm with you through life and to death. You're afraid. I wish you could see that. I think you're brave, and if it all falls, fix these mistakes. Wherever you're going, I'm going too. I'll follow you through the black and the blue.
The next morning, my husband helped me drag all the pots off the patio so that I could start with the blank slate, and the pots on the patio have been neglected for years. There's a few pots that need to be cleaned out, and there's a few that need to be replanted, and some that just need to be trimmed up. We found these rolling caddies at Costco, and they come in sets of 2, and they're sturdy enough for the large pots that we have on the patio, and the wheels even have brakes to keep them in place. And we usually put little feet under the pots to raise them up off the ground, which makes it easy to clean so that the pots don't stain the concrete. But the caddy will raise the pots up and make them easy to move around the patio when we need to. Since we have the pots on the rolling caddies, we have a few extra feet, and I thought I would be able to use them here, but I didn't like the color, so as you'll see later, I ended up switching them out.
Smiling at me as so many times before. I'll never wanna be away, leave you again. You are all I want and more. It's true. If only I could do.
This arrangement has seen better days. The planter is broken and the plants are all leggy and in pretty bad shape. The planter dries out too fast, so the plants never get enough water, and the succulents are easy to propagate. Each individual leaf will root itself if you set it on top of the soil, but I'm just going to cut off the tops of the plants and I'll remove any dead or damaged leaves, and then I'll just set them on top of the soil, and the cuttings will need a few days to dry out, so I'll wait a few days before I water them, and then I can replant anything that still has roots attached. This kalanchoe plant was started from cuttings. I had an empty pot and I just kept sticking broken pieces into the dirt, and the cuttings are thriving, but I want to replant them into a smaller container so that I can use the bigger one for something else.
Standing underneath the lights.
Everything that we have planted in this pot has died, so I'm not sure if it's because of the growing conditions or if there's something wrong with the pot, so I threw out all the old dirt and washed out the pot, and I'm refilling it with some fresh potting soil, and I'm going to move it to a new location. And I've been wanting to be more intentional with the plants and pots and display them in a more thoughtful way, and I've been wanting to try growing flowers in these pots, and I don't have a lot of time to maintain a large flower bed, and the dogs would destroy anything that I plant in the yard anyway, so a container garden on the patio might be a good solution. And since I got an offer I couldn't refuse, it seemed like the perfect time to get started. We got the pansies from the neighbors. They overbought and they gave us the remaining flat, and this isn't the best time of year to plant pansies. They like the cooler weather, so they may only last another month or two if I'm lucky.
Quiet voices in the night. Time is running out of sight. A lonely wind is passing by. Tries to carry all the whispers that it finds. The walls are listening when we talk, making echoes as we walk. There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see. Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes.
The new plants need to be watered in, but I want to clean up the patio first. If I water now, it will just make a muddy mess that will be harder to clean up. So once all the plantings are done and cleaned up, I can come back and water all the plants. The birds love to pick at the cocoa liners for nesting materials, and they're starting to look pretty sad, so I wanted to replace them. And last month I cut back the geraniums so that they would be easier to transfer them to the new liners, and they're starting to fill in again. And I usually transfer the old liner straight to the new one, but there's at least 2 or 3 layers of old liners, so it's time to start over.
There's no one left.
And since the cocoa liners were taking up so much room, I needed to add a bit more potting soil. And because the dirt has dried out, the baskets are much lighter and easier to carry, but it will also keep the dirt together so that I can move the plants over to the new liners.
How come the stars come to shine when it's dark? From so far away, show us where we are. What makes the sun go to sleep every night? And what's it dreaming of?
The baskets are connected to a drip system, so before I can take them down, I have to cut the drip tubing, and once all the baskets are done, we can reconnect the water line. And by we, I mean my husband took care of it.
How come the sky sometimes hides behind the clouds? Maybe it's just like me, a little bit scared of heights. Why does the rain always keep on pouring down when it's gray outside? It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder. Undressed when it's cold, and don't they miss the leaves they left behind? Could it be to make the ground shine like gold until winter comes? Until winter comes. Until winter comes. It really
wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder. Oh, I wonder.
When I started planting the pots today, I had to question my decision to clean the patio the day before, but cleaning up is the best place to start, and once I have everything clean, I can get a better idea of what I need to fix and what I need to replace. And it's so much nicer to work in a clean space, and even though I made a huge mess, it only took a few minutes to clean up.
How come the stars come to shine when it's dark from so far away and show us where we are? It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder. Oh, I wonder.
We use the leaf blower on the outdoor cushions and pillows on a weekly basis to remove the dust and pollen, and a few times a year we'll rinse them off with the hose or the pressure washer. That's all for today. I hope this video gave you a little motivation to get outside and do a little spring cleanup, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and remember to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications before you go. And thank you so much for spending your time with me today, and I hope to see you next time.